Bill Lewis, here from the Yorktown American Legion. Bill, thanks for coming. Charlie Monty, right, Manitowoc CFW Commander. Joe Harrisburg, where are you, sir?
Yeah.
Joe, sir. Richard DeRusso. Right there, sir. You got my back. Ted Martine. Ted, sir. Gil Kaufman, right here. Bill, how are you? Gil Kaufman, Army retired, 52 to 53, right? Nick DiTomaso, always the best dressed guy at the party, right? Ed Donovan, O'Brien, Mary Monetti, Mary? Where's Mary? Mary Monty, sorry. Okay. Are we all in? You want to pull in here? Come on, pull in. Keep us going, yeah, come on in. Just keep going. Just get in front of you. There's a gentleman who recently passed away in the town of Somers. He was actually a principal in the Mahopac school system. His name was Thomas Pasquale. And Tom Pasquale and I met. Tom was a resident of Heritage Hills. And I met Tom when I was actually going door to door over 2 years ago. And in one of the conversations that we had, he was actually on a carrier. He witnessed firsthand kamikaze strikes, some of the first kamikaze strikes in that war. And Tom said, you know, Greg, I believe that in New York State, we should do everything we can to make sure that veterans get free education, that they get free tuition, and specifically in New York State. And I said, you know what, Tom, that's a very good idea. And it goes to the heart of what I've always said, which is I'm just the energy and the shoe leather of this movement, of this assembly district, and the best ideas that I have are not mine. They're absolutely not mine. And when I was first introduced to the assembly, within the first few months, we began to develop legislation to provide free tuition to combat veterans throughout the state of New York. We introduced that bill. That bill initially began to gain a little bit of steam. I then met at that time with Governor Spitzer's staff. Governor Spitzer's staff right away thought that it was a really good idea. We then met with VFWs, the American Legion, some of the veterans organizations throughout the state of New York. We perfected that bill over a course of a couple of months. Then we introduced a conference-wide piece of legislation which picked up bipartisan support in the New York State Assembly, and then was shepherded in the New York State Senate as well. After that, Governor Spitzer, which may be a dirty word in politics today, but he does deserve a little bit of credit on this specific, actually mentioned this tuition program for combat veterans in the State of the State. Many of you may remember that he brought it up in the last State of the State. Then, as we all know, we had the firestorm in Albany. I worked very hard to make sure that Lieutenant Governor, now Governor Patterson's staff, made sure that this continued to be a legislative priority and to get it placed in the budget. They promised me that it would be placed in the budget, and today, the reason why I'm here is to announce the fact that New York State leads the nation, literally leads the nation with this program. This is a $2 million funded for this year. We got to fight tooth and nail every year to make sure it's funded at this level and beyond, to provide free tuition to SUNY and CUNY schools. And then if an individual wants to go to a private institution, to a private college, they can take whatever it would have cost on a SUNY or a CUNY, and they can apply that to a private institution for all combat veterans, going back all the way to Vietnam. I'll let you know right now that I'm going to do everything I can, and I asked it to be included this go around, but that it goes back to World War II. Not necessarily that many individuals will sign up for the program, but I think it sends a very clear statement that for all of our veterans, we want to extend a hand and do the right thing. So it provides that all the way going back to the Vietnam War, and also military operations other than war. So this just isn't within combat operations, within declared wars. As long as you have an expeditionary medal and you served in combat, you'll be eligible for this program. So I'm very happy, and I don't know if anybody wants to speak on this, but this really is a really big deal. And the great thing with this program is that now we have our toehold, we have our foot in the door. And now that this program is part of law, has been funded at $2 million a year. We can begin to expand this each and every year. I think one of the key things that people need to realize is that this is not a giveaway program. This is not a handout to veterans. This is about New York State being a magnet around the country for veterans, because it's not only about veterans education. It's the reality that having a veteran in the workplace, have a veteran in the classroom, not only helps that veteran, it adds to the educational environment. It helps the other students that are in that classroom. It brings the real hands-on world experience that the vast majority of students will never get to read in a textbook. And I believe it's even a value to the professors. And from a taxpayer perspective, there is no more productive sector of our society than returning veterans. Period. End of story. And the more veterans that we can attract, the better off we are as a state, of course, as a country. So, is there anybody who would like to speak on the issue? Okay, then we'll open it up if the press has any questions.
How does this differ from the kind of benefits the federal government provides regarding combat veterans? In addition to that?
Well, at the federal level, you have the local level, you have the state level, and the federal. And we have a world-class fighting force. I hope you'd honor to be a ranker on that committee. In times past, in New York State, the Veterans Committees have been entirely apolitical, but they have also avoided tough issues. You go in, you do the Pledge of Allegiance, you pass the bills that there won't be any debate on. The rest of the bills are allowed to the Leadership Committee. There are 10 pieces of legislation right now. I have 30 veterans organizations. This is a first step, but we're going to focus on another 10 pieces of legislation. The next big one that I'm going to push, which will be my goal next year, is to extend the same benefits to veterans that are extending out to minority and women-owned businesses throughout the state of New York. So now that we have a great education program, the next thing we want to do is promote small businesses that are veterans-owned the same way that we provide tax benefits and funding for minority and women-owned businesses. And that bill, I'm going to be pushing very hard to bring to a vote on the floor of the Assembly this year.
Greg, I'd like to thank you once again for giving veterans an opportunity to go back and finish a lot of things that they regret that they never finished before.
Thank you.
I do regret that.
Greg, I think one thing I wanted to mention, you see we have Supervisor Peters and Councilman Bianco, and also Vice Commander Bill Mangieri from Brewster.
Yeah, I want to commend Greg for my parents were both. My mother was a Marine, a BAM. I won't tell you what that stands for, but we're proud that our people are supporting our country, and we have to show support. And I'm glad Greg has the initiative to be doing this and help out in any way we can. So again, I'd like to commend Greg. Thank you.
We have a strong partnership here.
I just want to say thank you, Greg, for sponsoring this bill. And I think it's well deserved for our veterans for sacrificing for us that we give them something in return. And it's not a gift, like Greg said, or anything like that. It's just something they should do. The state of New York gives free education to someone who wants to become a police officer. It gives free education to someone who wants to become a nurse. Why shouldn't we give free education to someone that's fighting for our liberties?
Thank you. Thank you. Bill?
Hey, I ask you a question. How long do you think the Marines and the Mountain Dew has going to deliver?
I think that it's going to be a great amendment within the next session. That's the great thing about this bill. Now that we have a piece of legislation, I honestly think that these next year will be able to expand it every year.
I think there is a possibility that they maybe included this now.
My name is Bill Mangieri. I'm Vice Commander up at the Brewster VFW, and I'm a Gulf War veteran. I had to go back into the family business after I got out of the Gulf War. I wasn't able to finish my college studies like I wanted to. I'm actually eligible for this program, and as soon as I get to it, I'm going to take advantage of this program. I think we should all be grateful that we have a veteran, Assemblyman Ball, fighting for veterans in our district. A lot of times, politicians, the veterans come last. It's just a given. But since Greg is a veteran, he is directly responsible for bringing back services to veterans in this community. And I think that's great. And I want to thank you, Greg, for sticking up for veterans and fighting.